Hello and welcome to After Sound Review, and this time I will review one of the most requested IM review, which is the Moondrop new Aria. I believe that Moondrop has released a different kind of Aria before, and they like relaunching it again but still naming it Aria, but with totally different look and totally different sound, I believe. Okay, first of all, thank you for my friend Catur Sugiharto who have lent me his IM so I could review them. And like usual, I will review them from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. From the build quality itself, I believe this is around 80 to 90 bucks. And for $100, under $100 IM, for me this Moondrop Aria is simply the best. Let me zoom a bit. I hope you can see them better now. It is so beautiful. It's built like a tank. It feels definitely like it's built like metal. It has some convincing weight to it, and also the paint is all matte black, so it's like powder coated somehow. So it's not shiny and smooth, but it's on the matte side, and it also has some golden lines on it, and it has Aria logo here, which is also gold. And for me, this is just simply one of the most elegant and most good looking product from Moondrop ever. Even I like this better than my kxxs. It's just, look at this, it just looks more elegant here. Okay, and then they are using 2-pin connectors, and the ear gate itself is somehow quite flexible. It's not as stiff as your usual ear gate. And also the cable is covered in fabric-like coating. And yeah, it's covered in fabric. And this is the jack. And when it comes to the fitting, for my small Asian ears, it fits perfectly without any discomfort or sharp edges. I just simply could wear them for hours without any complaint. And then when it comes to the sound, I will use my IFX DSD, QDLX 5K, and also Ibasso DX160 as my source, and here's my playlist. Okay, so this is where things gets interesting for me, because this is the frequency response of the Moondrop Aria here. I show them with the orange color, and this is the Moondrop kxxs. They're virtually very similar. And then this is the Tensjim Oxygen. So if you're looking only through the frequency response, they are all using the same kind of frequency target, which is Harman response. And yeah, they are virtually the same, but let me tell you, this is where the frequency response, this is a perfect example where frequency response doesn't really tell the whole story, because even though they all have very similar frequency response, they all sounds different. Sure, there are some points that are similar, but their fortes, their technicalities, the taste even, and the timbre are all different. But yeah, if we're talking only about the frequency response, you can see that the elevation is mostly on the bass and also the upper mid-range, and then there's treble roll-off. After that, peak around the upper mid-range following the Pina gain. Okay, so yeah, they are all simply called Harman target. So when it comes to the sound, for me, this Moondrop Aria could be simply said as another Harman-ish sounding IM. If you are already familiar with Harman-ish sounding IM like the Moondrop kxxs or the Moondrop Starfield, I should say this is literally their youngest brother, but with less weight note. Even though the frequency response is very similar, but I should say I have my kxxs over here. Even though I'm using the same ear tips and same source and same song, I always get that this Aria is the brightest of the three. The Moondrop Aria somehow has this strange sparkle that somehow, I guess it's around 10 kHz or more, that is sparkling like what I get in the electrostatic IM or in the planar magnetic IM, such like the tin planar 2 or thin P2. Somehow it's a quite strange sparkle. It's not your usual 6 kHz or 5 kHz treble sparkle. Okay, let's just get started from the bass itself. This is somehow a not really punchy bass, but it's there, and the texture is actually quite good. It's just not punchy, it's not just dynamic enough to satisfy bass head. I'm considering myself not a bass head, but even so, I don't feel like that I'm satisfied enough with this kind of bass. It's just not deep and thumping enough to get this excitement from EDMs or some pop songs. But nevertheless, it's still you can still feel that the punch of the bass. It's just not dynamic enough. And then the mid range is, I should say that it is quite airy, smooth, and somehow there's a lightness to it that makes female vocals somehow more suitable for it, but not really suitable for male vocals like Il Divo or Josh Groban, who have more weight note to their voice. It just feels like somehow light and airy. And then when it comes to the treble, there's, like I said, somehow strange. I could describe as strange sparkle, because this sensation, I'm familiar with this sensation, but from the EST driver or from the planar driver, but this is the first time I hear them from a dynamic driver. It's not sharp, it's not piercing, but it's like sparkle on the end of the cymbal crash or some instruments that have this sound to it. It's just really strange. I'm not saying it's offensive, it's just there and you cannot ignore it. It's there. It's just quite strange. And then when it comes to technicalities, I should say that this is quite mediocre. I don't say this is bad or this is good. It's just quite tidy. It's not really bad. It's not overly powering each other. It's still good, but I'm not saying that it's on par like this, compared to the HG Sound Hard Mirror. HG Sound Hard Mirror definitely has better separation and better technicalities than this Moondrop Aria. But that being said, for me, the tonalities is what Aria definitely wins at. It's more natural for me and smoother. And when it comes to comparison, I should compare them with some of my benchmark under $100 IM, which is the t2p Plus and also the Moondrop Stardust. For those who don't know, the Moondrop Stardust is actually like the not cheaper. It's like the warmer tuned SSR, but not as warm as the SSP. And also I will compare them to its bigger brother, the Moondrop kxxs. Okay, I should zoom a bit and tell you that when it comes to the goodness for this Moondrop Aria, I should say that it's the best looking of all. Even though it is compared to the Moondrop kxxs, which is more than twice of its price, the Aria still looks better for me. It looks actually very symmetrical. No, I'm saying that they look very similar, but the main difference is mainly on the faceplate. While the Moondrop kxxs has this diamond-shaped cut, I guess, while this Moondrop Aria is more flat in the faceplate. You can see it from this side also. Here, the main difference is on the faceplate. And then their back side is also really similar. See? The biggest difference is on the faceplate. But the paint job, I should say that the Moondrop Aria is definitely more candy to the eye. And then comparing them to the Stardust, which has same paint as the Starfield, I should say that the Aria is much better looking. From my eyes, the Stardust it just simply looks much cheaper considering the paint job itself. So even though it is cheaper than the kxxs or the Starfield, the build and the look for the Aria is simply the best for me. And when it comes to the sound, I'm sorry, but this is what I hear when I play complex song. But comparing Aria to t2p or the Stardust or the kxxs, using my benchmark song for orchestral like Enchantress from Two Steps from Hell or from songs like Enshi Onizu, the Moondrop Aria is the poorest when it comes to separation. Yeah, even though it is compared to the t2p and the Moondrop Stardust, which has less price than the Moondrop Aria, but Aria is the poorest when it comes to separation. But that being said, for me the Moondrop Aria is the most organic compared to the t2p or the Moondrop Stardust, which could get a little bit hot and fatiguing after I listen to them for some hours. Especially the shoutiness of this Moondrop Stardust and also the sibilance on this t2p. But yeah, like I said, they are both better in technicalities. They are both better extended on the bass and treble, also more tight in their bass and more sparkling in the treble. But yeah, Moondrop Aria is just more pleasant to listen to for many hours. And then how is it compared to this bigger brother, the Moondrop kxxs? I'm sorry, but just like you, maybe some of you are hoping that this Aria could perform against its bigger brother and maybe at the same level, at least on the same level. But I should say that sorry, that kxxs is definitely still better in tonalities and technicalities. I don't get this strange kind of treble sparkle that I do get from this Aria. This kxxs is smoother, the vocal is more light in the Aria, but it's more solid and it's more clear on the kxxs. Also, kxxs has better bass punch and it's much more thumping and deep. So, Moondrop Aria, yeah, it's still really good. I should say even that it's my most recommended product for $100. I am maybe. Because I'm not saying that it's very technical, it's very detailed. No, it's just the combination of the build quality and also the looks of it and also the sound. They are a complete package and they are the most easiest to recommend because how good they are in all those places, in all those kind of criteria. So I think that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any question, please write down in the comment below and see you next time. Bye bye.